The respect is there. The assumption of practice is there.
Yeah, Fizz, Kennen, and Caitlyn were the bans for G2. The reason they banned Caitlyn was to avoid the Ivern-Caitlyn combination we often see on red side coming in very early, now that they were first picking Lee Sin. Same start for SKT. Zyra is now the only support they haven't banned that we already saw banned in Game 2.
Yep. Game 1 and 3 had the same bans across the two of them, and looks like 2 and 4 may be in the exact same boat here, as G2 have obliged and done the same as last time.
Meanwhile, SKT deciding if they still want to, have the Kog'Maw in there instead of the Twitch, actually.
I like this ban a lot. We just said Zyra is not something Mithy has shown us here in playoffs, so you don't have to ban it. And this ban here actually allows Bang now to play Twitch. It was kind of blocked for him in the last one, but you can go for a late game combo like Tahm Kench, Twitch, Ivern if you want to play that style, and you have a fantastic late game.
One of the keys for G2 has been, drafting late game scaling reliability while still enough of the early game to afford Trick to play off those lanes.
There it is. So the ban is extremely smart after Sven showed he would take it early in the last game.
Letter G brought to you here in Game 2. Coming back towards Olaf and actually going to lock it in over the Graves and the Ivern opportunities. He's going to mirror the same matchup as last time.
Definitely see if he wants to make any earlier moves here then with the Olaf, as opposed to the Graves, where he's just trying to force the enemy into his side of the jungle for farming and get Lee Sin to sort of inaction.
Yeah, now you're in a bit of a tricky spot for G2, because if you pick Tahm Kench, oh, okay, Thresh Kalista, baby!
This is an aggressive bottom lane. You showed the early Twitch pick, and they're going at you.
And I've heard so many AD carries and even support players talk about, oh yeah, they lock in the Twitch. Instantly give me the Thresh plus the Kalista. Yet G2 actually do it. Sven and Mithy, one of the most confident bottom lanes with that combination. An incredible amount of playmaking.
Sadly for them, Tahm Kench was left open, and Tahm Kench is very good against Thresh because you can just deny the kill potential when Thresh goes for that hook. That is something that will be good for Wolf, but not a lane where SKT will put pressure on G2.
Yeah, I'm still excited for the playmaking.
Oh, you should be.
The options here, especially with Lee Sin, Lantern ganks, like there's so much threat here for the bottom lane combination. Just in the first phase of drafting, this is going to be an exciting one.
Time for the Vans to come through. We've already seen the Shen is off the table. SKT clearly unwilling to play the champion themselves. And that one several times here against Expect. G2's trying to ban something away.
Yeah, it also makes sense to remove it now against Thresh Kalista. Like, you don't want to add another thing to this bot lane party that G2 are trying to set up. Galio has been a pick we've seen in every single game. Oftentimes you want to either ban the Fiora, or you want to wait with picking the Galio to see the enemy top lane.
I like the Syndra ban here from SK Telecom, seeing the Fizz and Ahri off the table already.
Cassiopeia still open. Was a pick, obviously Faker used great success in team fights in Game 1, and then yesterday, or sorry, 2 days ago against the Flash Wolves, and he can last pick it if he wants to. Like, Huni can go for that Rumble top if he wants a blind pick. Or even Galio and challenge Expect to actually show the Fiora. Okay, they banned the Fiora, so now Galio blind pick is open for Huni.
The GP was such a good answer from G2, from Expect into that Galio. You have to be cautious.
Yeah, it's definitely a good answer, but I still think SKT can take the Galio and just play safe, because play safe around the top side, because they lost that early skirmish. If they hadn't lost that skirmish, they were doing fine with Galio. But this is the other blind option we mentioned, and obviously, as you highlight, Kobe, it's just to avoid the gangplank.
Exactly.
Huni
does not like getting solo killed, no matter what else goes on in the game.
Oh, Huni has bad memories with GP. He actually got outplayed against Soaz with it 2 years ago in Europe, in our European final. So Galio could come in now for Expect if he wants to play that against Rumble like we saw just before. Does he want something else? Does he want more hard engage with this? Or
oh my goodness, there's a lot of playmaking ability here on the G2 esports side. Shockwave after the Kalista ultimate. Thresh gets thrown in there. Galio comes down on top. The theory crafting is definitely there, but pulling that off against SKT, more difficult task.
Right, it's almost the exact same thing as you had in the previous game, and they weren't able to do so and punish the SKT flash cooldown. So now we'll see if it works a bit better this time around. LeBlanc, the final pick here for SKT.
Oh. Faker LeBlanc at MSI.
Yeah, we never say no to that one.
But last year, 2 years ago, I should say, Faker's LeBlanc was the downfall of SKT at the hands of Edward Gaming in Game 5.
Exactly, but this is a last pick LeBlanc. No Morgana in this game. Right into the Orianna.
And I want to go back to your point, Freak, regarding G2 and, you know, maybe lacking like easy tools to start fights with. Like a lot of it is on Trick to find a good engage, and that's where maybe, again, things like Gragas that offers a bit more hard engage for your team can be easier to play. But Galio is just such a power pick that you feel like you have to take him when he's open.
And I just love the combination, how much confidence you can give Mythy to actually take his hooks. I think you guys need to have more faith in Mythy's death sentences here.
That's a Tom Kench on the other side.
Well, he can take it in. He can still take the death sentence in, then get pulled out by Kalista after the Galio ultimate has already been channeled on that placement. So, I mean, the yo-yo composition here from G2, I'm seeing all the theory crafting in my head is just exploding right now.
And then we're seeing the carry.
Pull off.
Then we're seeing the carry in Wolfer's belly, not taking any damage, doing that insane engage. And G2's like, wait a minute, we didn't kill anyone.
All the fireworks go off and SKT members still live.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch the carries in SKT, and if they do live through these fireworks, if Wolf can continue to support the squad, he's made some big plays so far this year. We'll see if he can do it again on the Tom Kench. And Game 4 is ready to begin here in Rio de Janeiro in front of thousands of cheering Brazilian fans. Will SKT secure the championship on this one, or will G2 from Europe bring us to Game 5?
No matter what happens, then this has been a very, very fun final to watch. Very competitive games, back and forth as well. G2 has definitely shown up.
And I'm so happy about this tournament because it came in saying, is this the one where SKT wins the title undefeated? And instead, we get to see maybe the gap is closing and then G2 plays at their best.
Oh, careful, careful with that one. SKT always end up winning when we say the gap is closing.
But even Gigabyte Marine surprising and getting 3 wins during the group stage as well. Like, there have been so many pleasant surprises at MSI this year.
True.
We saw Premier SKT last game, but they looked really sharp, and we know that team is still up to that level, but so many other teams have stepped up at this tournament, which is so great to see.
One thing is for sure, the vacation, definitely a thing of the past. That is over. G2's hard work.
They gave it to WE and said, it's yours now.
G2's hard work completely paying off, getting into the finals and showing up in the finals. Very tall task, but they have accomplished quite a bit here. Let's see if they can make this game exciting and push it to another one, or will SKT, this iteration of SKT, be able to claim the trophy here? Huni, Peanut, finally being able to raise the trophy. They joined this team to win international competitions, to come first place.
Well, SKT give the tell that they are, in fact, leashing blue buff for their Olaf. One of the strengths of that champion is that he doesn't need the leash at all. You can play for lane dominance on the other side of the map, but ooh, that was actually pretty close because 1 HP and I believe Deadly Venom was still on the target. There was a chance he lost that blue buff. It was close.
See, bot lane now. Kalista Thresh, always a lane where if you make one mistake against him, you get hooked in a plate and then suddenly you just go down.
Yeah, instant aggression there from Mythy. One of the reasons that they did lend a little bit of extra damage there on the clear for Peanut as well, is because they didn't want to contest super early. Also, it's accelerating Peanut into an early movement by mid lane here. Orianna definitely under pressure.
A lot of damage here. He's got a flash wait. No, he's got to wait for Trick to come in. Pushing the damage on a Faker, not much else to get. A trade of equal damage.
Very good counter gank here. And I also like Peanut actually paying attention to mid lane early because it's been G2 always ganking Faker and getting perks ahead. Now they're trying to get this LeBlanc rolling.
Meanwhile, pushing top lane, always want to highlight these deep wards because it's been so crucial. Huni on the Rumble is vulnerable if he perma pushes up, but he's able to not only get the early ward in there, he also destroys the blast cone to remove one more option from Trick.
He's doing this so often when he has to push, like that exact move.
Literally every single top laner at this tournament, I think, has actually done that well if they're the pushing matchup.
So we're not calling it a Huni?
I think it came around before.
Fine, it's a top lane move then.
Still good to do it. Of course, Rumble gonna have the push lead early on in the matchup, and it's still a strength, whether it's expected or not. That's still good play.
If you pushed up and warded their blue buff on Lucian, that's a Huni.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Let's take it on. Let's see if Trick can make something happen top side.
Those lane ganks, they have worked out for him in the past.
Oh, he's snuck in there.
Yeah, I don't think they saw him, and with that minion dead, he can go even farther forward. So Huni may have an understanding that, of course, he could be here now, but Peanut's recalling away, so it's going to be a 2-on-1 if they go for it.
Yeah, Huni just trying to play it safe, and Trick doesn't want to waste time. That's why he just goes in for the play here to push out the lane. He knows that Huni has already kind of figured out he's on top side because he saw him at that blue buff, and Huni just like pulls the wave back to his tower. Says, I'm not going forward.
Yeah, and he also expects not to waste any time, right? He accelerates the pushing of that into the turret so that Expect can go for his recall now, get his purchase off, and get back to lane.
You can see actually pretty substantially down to the bot lane, +5 minions right now. Still full potions for Sven. So far okay for the G2 counter pick lane. Trick now back in to the mid lane. His third time influencing a lane. Faker than a half HP, slowed a bit by Perks. That's a chain missed. Ward hop forward. Faker no longer has any cooldowns. Ball tracks Peanut.
Oh, okay. Faker jumping back in, trying to get some damage onto Trick. And we see the same kind of play where the mid lane is hovering to decide where their jungler is, just nearby for a counter gank. Hard for G2 to kill this bot lane due to the time Kench, but you don't need kills early on Kalista. You can still become such a powerhouse later in these fights.
Exactly, trying to retain control of the wave. Expect doing similar here. Good trade on Huni.
Pretty good damage here. Of course, first TP's already been had by Expect the double Doran's Ring recall. Huni happy to wait a little bit longer, and then he can match that with more items.
Going back to Sven and Kalista, if people haven't really followed his career, like back in the day when he joined Origin and made it into the LCS, made it top 4 at Worlds, like his Kalista was so famous in Europe. He banned almost every single game.
And I remember even at Worlds he was getting banned, so not just in Europe, but Sven definitely one of those legacy Kalista players.
And then Kalista got nerfed, and he spent a year whining on Twitter about why didn't we buff Kalista so he could play her again. She did receive a few buffs. Not a lot of AD carries like to play her as like a high tier pick, but if you are one of these guys where it's a comfort pick for you, then you can still have great games on it.
It's funny, Kalista didn't even get any straight buffs. It was Blade of the Ruin King
That's
got
true,
better.
yeah.
Everyone else just kind of joined her territory of Ruin King rep. The item, of course, so much stronger now. We can see if he can keep pressuring on the Bang. And for those who don't watch a lot of this anymore, you get one spear into a minion, then you go and try to get your opponents off, and that's been going pretty well. Nice predict by Perks, actually got the ball over where the distortion was going to be, and Faker jumps back onto it. Of course, there was a buff where Ren gives you the mana back on just one minion kill, so they're right to Fischio. But it makes that laning pattern even easier. Land one auto, land one on a minion, hit E, receive free damage.
And I want to return to the top lane, actually, because we have a very forward ward. Actually,
we're on bot lane now.
It doesn't matter what I want. But anyways, this ward I wanted to highlight because we talk about the pushing of Rumble. He wants to stay far up, but he has to worry about the lane ganks of Trick. You know, he just was the victim of a single one. Now he's trying to defend that ward. You can see Expect was hovering very close to that brush before he walked in there to see that it actually is there, and he can take that out, opening up more possibilities of lane ganks.
This time I think he's going to kill the ward off. Looks like he found...
He never walked in the bush.
He never
So he gets value out of that ward.
Oh, he didn't see it either. He was looking at Rumble.
They have to know.
Okay.
Going to be, again, this one just going to be Expect pushing the wave into the turret once again, but it's a pretty substantial minion lead for Huni right now, about 10. Similar lead to what's in the bot lane. Looks like Sven and maybe going to let the push come in. Wolf's level 5.
Ooh, they get the gray health out of top Kench.
Also, Bang has used his potion, so all these little trades right now will go in favor of Sven because he still has his potion. He just popped it right now. We'll get the HP advantage, but once again, SKT can just try and play it safe and go back. In case he had hit the hook, Devour would come in from Wolf instantly.
Being at the level 6, looking for the bot side of the map. Here's the Ghost, wants to go for the gank, and here comes the all-in as well. A lot of damage on the mid. They're going to go right for that one. Plenty of damage there. The flash to follow, and that's sure to be first blood picked up for Peanut in the bot lane.
Right before they hit level 6, still level 5, and they get in there for the kill. Very nice timing from Peanut. Called down. You talk about